What is up, everyone? JD here. Hope you're doing well today. Got an overview for you. Let's get into it. All right, guys, I'm really excited to review this one. Unfortunately, this is a pre-order knife and the pre-order spots have filled up, but knowing the designer and manufacturer, I believe there will probably be a little extra ordered, so be ready for it if this one does interest you. What are we taking a look at today? We're looking at the Tempest Knives Fractus. Really excited to check out the Fractus. I definitely got in on the pre-order. I didn't get the prototype to check out until now. And handling the prototype, I'm really excited that I did get in on the pre-order, guys. What we're going to do today is we're going to do some size comparison, profile comparison. We'll weigh the knife, then we'll go ahead and jump into my thoughts and impressions. Keep in mind, everything in this review is on a prototype. There could be some slight tweaks or changes that could switch up the knife a little bit. So I will do a full review once I get my final production version in hand, just in case there's extras left over in stock at that time. Might give you an option to pick one of these up. All right, let's go ahead and kick it off with some size comparison knives. First, we're going to bring out the Miguron Kyrix Budget. This one here is more of a medium-sized EDC, a little bit bigger than the Ontario Rat 2. And then we're going to do a full-size comparison against the Civivi Amorite. This one here is going to put you more into that Rat 1 territory, just so you have an idea. But I do like to use more current knives that I feel are a little bit better value for money with what you get for these comparisons. And you can see here the Fractus is more of what I would call medium-sized EDC. It's a little bit bigger than the Kyrix, but I would still constitute it like kind of medium on the cusp of large. But I wouldn't fight you if you were saying that this is a large knife. Let's go ahead and bring out just a couple more comparison knives. Here it is against the Spyderco Para 3, which is definitely what I would constitute as a small knife comparison. And then here it is against the Spyderco Shaman, which is roughly the same size as the Para 2 or PM2. So there you go. You can see it is pretty close to the Shaman. So if you wanted to say full size, I mean, it's just a little shorter on the handle and the blade length. I wouldn't argue that. I would just call it more medium for me, but I have those larger hands. Let's really quick, before we go too much further, grab the ruler here for my ruler guys that prefer to have their comparisons done by ruler. Got to move that knife out of that Amorite, was in the way there. You can see this one overall coming in at 8 inches. So knowing actually with the measurement coming in at 8 inches, I would say that's a full-size knife for me personally. You do have just over, by the ruler, just slightly over 3.5 inches in blade length and just over 3 inches of cutting edge. So I really like those numbers a lot. For me, that's great. So since it is what I would say full size being an 8-inch knife, let's go ahead and use the full size knives for the profile comparisons. So here it is against the Spyderco Shaman. As you can see here against the Shaman, it is a little bit thinner, but it does have nice contouring on it. And then we'll go ahead and grab the Amorite. The Amorite's actually pretty surprisingly thin. And I would say that these two are even. Hopefully that Shaman in the background helps with that. And then from profile comparison, it is nice and compact when closed up. It's a little bit smaller than the Shaman, a lot smaller than the Amorite, both length and height. You can see the height comparison here, very close to the Shaman, but it does squeak in just underneath, and then against the Amorite, especially at its tallest point, just a little bit smaller. I don't think I missed anything. Let's go ahead and check the weight. Bring the scale out here. Let's see. And again, prototype, guys. Anything could change slightly on this knife or dramatically. Coming in at 4.2 ounces. I don't know that I heard him say anything about the weight, but 4.2 ounces for a full-size knife, I feel like that's a good weight. All right. finally, let's get into the thoughts and impressions. First and foremost, we're going to talk about ergos. Unlike the Jetstream, this one here is a little bit more narrow. I feel like this is a better EDC size, whereas I felt that the Jetstream was a good carry knife for a work knife. Like it felt a little bit more robust, a little bit more beefy, more focused on the ergos and cutting performance than anything else. This one here is balanced. So good ergos. I'm able to get 3 3/4 fingers on in the normal position here behind the little choil that's there for the cutting. So for any puncture task, any chopping task that you're going to be able to perform with, you got space. Because I have large hands, I feel like medium to large, you're going to fit on here really comfortable. I do have larger hands, so I hang off the back just a little bit. But Casey did design a 4 choil on here that's great for the trigger position. Now for me, I don't land on either one of the jumps here in this particular instance. It would be back here. For me, a little awkward for the detailed work. For me, it'd be better to stretch out to reach towards the tip for the real detailed cutting, or for detailed pushing cut would put me right into the belly here. So I would probably use this for push cut power cutting with the thumb just tucked in like that. So it is very comfortable. I love the fact that he did a very generous choil here. You can see I have space. I'm not right up on the blade's path, and I like that. I can keep the finger back. I can choke up, get a good grip on the knife, feel like I have good control over it, and it doesn't feel sharp here. So looking at it, because of the way that they did that cutout, you actually have a nice sharpening choil, but they did a good job chamfering here, so none of this feels like it's cutting into that finger when you're choking up. I really think that's impressive, being that this is a little bit more slender than the Jetstream. So I think that's a really good job here. I would say I would have liked to seen a little bit more aggressive on the micromilling. It's very subtle, very subdued. I don't think Casey really likes an aggressive micromilling in his design aesthetics. I think he likes everything to be really comfortable in hand. And I'm assuming here, I haven't really had a chance to talk to him about that. So I might just reach out to him and kind of ask him about that before I get mine. Again, this is a prototype, so that could change. The transitions are pretty good. A little bit here, I feel it, but everywhere else is very smooth transitioning over. So I feel just a little right there on the prototype, and then because the lock bar is locking the knife in the closed position, you do feel a little bit here, but they chamfered it. So it's not like it's sharp. You can just feel where there's a little bit of a step up, and everything else feels really good. That's nice. I did talk to him because I thought it was a captive pivot when I saw it, because it doesn't have the tooling, but he indicated that Concept didn't want or couldn't do, I think he said couldn't, I think it's the word that he used, couldn't do the captive pivot the way that he wanted. So it's going to be T8 on both sides. Keep that in mind. So you will need a T8 to hold the pivot in place while you're tightening or loosening the pivot screw. It's going to be T6 hardware throughout, titanium backspacer. He has I like this because it reminds me of my Quiet Carry 9, which is my favorite pocket clip. Quiet Carry 9 has a little bit more of a thicker overall material here, and he decided to go with something a little bit thinner. So it does feel a little bit lighter, but I haven't carried this a ton to test it to where it may or may not come in out of the pocket, but it is a prototype. I don't know if they're going to do anything to change that. I would say just thicken up the material on the pocket clip just a little bit. It's got a serious gap on it, so you could probably keep it the same height and just a skosh thicker to make it a little bit stronger. I think that would probably help with the retention without sacrificing its ability to go in and out of the pocket smoothly, which this does do. Action, it's good. It feels a little light for my taste, but again, prototype in production, he might have that changed. And it could be because this was in a pass round. Again, prototype also could definitely be the reason why. I would like it just a little bit more crisp of a break, because this here, you can easily imitate a failure, like if you were to miss your flip. Now, if you're in the hole and you're hitting it, it's fine. It feels good. The action feels good. It is a shaker, not a guillotine, and I like that. Controlled, easy to anticipate, and really, really nice. Good finish on the S90V material here. It's more satiny than it is belt. I don't know if in final production will be belt. Nice drop point here. Almost feels like a spear point, and I really like that type of blade shape a lot. Good geometry. It looks thick, and I think that's just because it's not chamfered on either side here. It feels just like a very flat, dramatic termination on the prototype. It's not chamfered, and I think that, to me, deceptively makes me feel like it's got like a thick geometry. But when you look at it in comparison to, hold on, let me get, that's the medium. I know that's the medium size that I'm comparing it to. But you see, it doesn't look like it's thicker. It looks thicker. All right, well, we'll do the Curix 2 first. And I can't tell on the camera because I'm at a bad angle, guys. And then in comparison to the Shaman, just looks thicker. But let's kick it down to the desk and I'll show you how it cut. All right, in the garage, let's check this bad boy out. Oops, I went right into the choil. You can see right there. That's my fault. Yeah, nice. Let's get rid of that there. Huh, that's weird. This is a pass around, so there is a little bit of a hang up. Let me take care of that really quick before we get started. All right, that's 8. Let's just check it real quick. Yeah, that took care of it. Okay. Did I get that on camera? I'm so sorry. I was looking at the knife. Yeah, that took care of it. It is a pass around, so I don't know who else may have been testing before I got a hold of it, but it dropped right out. I did like 8. Single ply Amazon box. Let's just see. I am curious because this does seem like it is fairly thick, but it's got a fairly nice tall flat grind on it, or fairly tall, and it feels good behind the edge. This definitely feels like more of a worker, but it moves right through that cardboard, guys. No issues whatsoever. Let's just check the tip. I am getting caught into a couple of the grooves there. So nice utility cutter. Let's just see, again, not a big sample size, but it is a prototype pass around, so I'm not gonna go crazy with it. And you know, you can tell behind the edge it probably could stand to be stropped just a little bit more, and I may do that before I send it to the next reviewer. But it feels pretty good, and man, it is very comfortable, guys. So very light cut check because it is a prototype, B, a pass around, not my knife. So you guys know I don't like to do real aggressive testing on that type of stuff. I try to get as much as I can get out of those pass arounds just to show you guys that. It is a prototype pass around, so I'm not going to spine whack this one. When I get mine, we'll do that test as well. But tall flat grind. Seems like Concept did a good job on the edge with their S90V. Felt very good in that little bit of cutting that I did. And the spear point works really well for those detailed cuts, draw cuts. So not an awful angle. It drops enough to make it useful. And I appreciate that for the little bit of detail work that I'm going to do. And then again, that choke up point is really nice here because it's going to let me get into my packages or whatever I might need to get into with detail, with caution, being careful what I'm cutting into. So I do like that a lot. Ceramic bearings. I think it is a caged housing. I haven't taken this one apart, and I don't remember what the schematic blowout is. Picture that Casey did of this one, but I think it's the nylon bearings, and I think they are riding on trace washers, so it already has that milling cut out for the washers. I think that's how Concept does theirs, but we'll be able to do all that when the production model of this one comes in. I think it's going to be March or April, I think he said, that these might come in. It could be a little bit later, I'm not sure, but I don't think it takes Concept a long time to be able to produce these. They're a pretty quick manufacturer from what I'm recalling. I really like this. The best part about it, titanium, fat carbon inlay, carbon fiber inlay, S90V, titanium hardware. Oh, you know what? I didn't check it. Yeah, titanium hardware, titanium backspacer, pocket clip, all for $200. Same price as the Lush. I think that's awesome, man. This is a killer deal for the money. You can look at the Miguron Kyrix Premium with M390, but that's going to have steel hardware. That's $200. You can also do the Pagos 2 Premium from Miguron, also $200, but again, steel hardware from what I recall on that, including the screws. You can look at some of the S-Towels and things of that nature that have LMAX, I think. I think that's the blade steel. I think it's LMAX. I could be wrong. I apologize if that is the case. But also, I think Miguron is doing steel hardware for that $200 price point. So you're getting a little bit more with this one. And S90V, which I really like. Super good edge retention and not hard to sharpen. A little extra time to sharpen, but it's not awful. But if you strop between uses, especially if you've used it heavy duty or cardboard and things that are going to be really hard on a fine edge, that strop is really going to make this go a long ways. Great design, guys. I really am excited to get this one. I think the spear point's a beautiful blade shape. I like that this one's a little bit more EDC friendly, thinner profile. It's going to be a little bit smaller than your Jetstream, so a little bit easy to carry on the day-to-day. It's going to flex into some summer carry, which is really important to me as well. So from that perspective, very excited about that. You can check out some of the other options that I mentioned. Miguron, Vosti, like the Datsun. I love that knife. And some Akumwu stuff. So if you missed out, and if he for some reason doesn't want to do additional variants and runs of this one, maybe not do it right away, because I know that he has other designs that he's working on, but kind of like he mentioned with, what was that budget knife of his? The Sunburst, Microburst? I think it's the Microburst. I don't know where I got Sunburst from. Sorry, Casey. I think he's doing a premium version of that one. I would love to see him do an inset liner lock with 12 carbon fiber scales in S90V for like, you know, 125 to 150 bucks. I don't know if he can do it for that price point, but I think that would be awesome for the Microburst. So I know he's trying to do different variants of previous knives. I feel like this sold really well. For me, I felt like it sold faster than the Jetstream did, because he had some linger a long time there, but this went well. I think what he might be trying to do, if I had to guess, and I don't have any confirmation of this, he might want to see, if he ordered extra, how fast those sell out. I think if those sell out well, then I think he knows that he's got a good design here, and I would like to see him do different colorways, different color palettes and combinations. I think that would go over really, really well. Shout out to KC. He sent this around as a pass around for us to check out on the prototype. I'm sorry that I wasn't able to get to it quicker so that anyone that did want to get on their pre-order could, but again, keep a lookout. I have a sneaky suspicion he ordered extra. I think those extra will be your chance to get it sooner than later. I think if those extras sell out quickly, I think Casey knows that he's got a hit on his hands and he'll revisit it with different colorways. Let him know in the comments down below what you think. I have a feeling that when this review comes out, he'll check it. So let him know in the comments. Do you want to see more of these? Are you upset that you missed out on it? You know, you might not have seen it or might not have known about it. I have a feeling that most of my viewers also subscribe to KC, so you probably already did. But I really like it. Sincerely excited about this one, and I definitely feel like it's going to push real hard into probably my top 10 rotated knives. That's how much I like this model. That's how much it speaks to me personally. Shout out to everyone out there that watches, likes, uses the links, comments, and is subscribed. I love you guys. It helps when you watch this long, and it helps when you're commenting and using those links. I hope all of you have a fantastic week. Until next time, peace.